Welcome to the Private Practice Startup, where we inspire you from startup to mastery. We chat with entrepreneurs, experts in the mental health and business arenas, and successful private practitioners to give you the tools needed to make your dream practice a reality. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, and so much more. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
Hey, Startup Nation, welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. We're excited. We're doing something a little bit different today. It's not normal or usual, I should say, that we can have our guests sitting right next to, we're like all huddled around the microphone. Yes. Because we're not only doing this by audio, but we're doing it by video. So it's really weird because we're looking at each other and we're looking at us on screen, but there's no one else there.
Yeah, usually we're doing our podcast via Zoom, and so we're looking at the screen, we have our guests there, but we've decided that in addition to having the weekly audio version of our podcast, we really want to offer it as a visual option as well, because some people are more visual and some people are more audio learners, and we're going to be beefing up our YouTube channel a little bit with our visual version of the podcast. Yes. So we've got both of those going, and Samantha is here with us in office today, which is so exciting because she's local, another South Floridian. Yes. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And so we're just going to apologize now if anyone is like saying things or speaking in Japanese all of a sudden. So Samantha just got off a plane 2 days ago and she's jet lagged. Kate is been like burnt out and she's getting ready to fly out again. So if we just like sound like blubbering idiots, just excuse us. How about that?
Yes, life happens. We all have things going on. And I know in the last show I mentioned that I have a family health issue with someone near and dear to me. And I'll be heading back to Houston to go to MD Anderson with them later this weekend. So I crammed 2 weeks worth of work into 1 week this week. And today is Friday and we've got a busy day and we love it. So yes, I'm here, but maybe not all there, right?
We're just waiting on the Starbucks fairy to deliver.
Yes, Ernesto Segismundo will be in office for our webinar with him today, and he is going to be our live in-person Starbucks fairy. Thank God for Ernesto. Yes.
So, anyways,
without further ado.
So Samantha Drazen, LMHC, is going to be talking to us about Khospace, a unique way to start and build your private practice. But before we do that, if you are a first-time listener, we want to say welcome. You are officially part of our Startup Nation family, and we have a cool gift for you. Head over to privatepracticestartup.com. You'll see our smiling faces and the lovely water behind us, not rubbing it in if any of you are in the very winter cold listening to this, but right there, right on our homepage, you'll see a button to grab your A to Z cheat sheet, the essentials for building and growing a dream practice. And as I say that, I'm thinking like, wow, we're going to be talking about starting up private practice today. And so not only do you want to listen to this entire practice, you want to grab that A to Z cheat sheet because there's full of ninja tips and lots of value bombs in there. And where else can you find us? Facebook, of course. Look for the Private Practice Startup Facebook group. Ask to be approved, and we'll hang out with you guys there. We are very active in the group as well, so feel free to ask the community a question. There's so many great folks in there wanting to help and support you guys through your private practice journey. So last week, we had the opportunity to talk with, as Kate called her after the podcast, a gangster.
Yes.
Is that because she's in Chicago?
Yeah. You know what? I was going to say that's some hashtag gangster shit on the podcast last time, but I was like, maybe I shouldn't cuss, but whatever. You guys heard it. Yeah, she is totally gangster.
A business beast. So Maureen Warback,
all her empire.
And her empire. She talked about a two-pronged approach to marketing a group practice. So not only does she have her one spot, but she has two spots. And we talked somewhat about the intricacies, but more about the marketing approach that's worked for her. The really cool thing is she does offer coaching for people wanting to start a group practice. So, sponsorship.
Sponsor, yes. Today's
so much
sponsor,
to talk about.
I know, so much to talk about, so much fun. So today's sponsor is actually the Private Practice Startup, attorney-approved private practice paperwork. So knowing that you want to make a difference in the world and want to continue to do that and avoid legal risk, you need to have your attorney-approved private practice paperwork that meets all of the legal and ethical standards of our profession. The paperwork that we offered has been reviewed by many attorneys. Took us actually 10 years to perfect, and it meets the highest standard, and it's pretty much awesome. So check it out over at the Private Practice Startup And visit privatepracticestartup.com, and you'll see under our shop tab, you can choose our a la carte paperwork. We've got 26 plus forms there for you if you want to cherry pick the best, or if you want to save money and get the comprehensive packages we offer, you can check those out there as well.
Awesome.
And don't forget our free HIPAA form. Yes, that's on there as well. So if you guys want to test drive the paperwork, you can totally check that out for free as well.
Fantastic. So Samantha, so we're talking about Khospace. So you had emailed me,
Yes.
right, initially, and wanting to kind of pick my brain.
Yes.
And then we had a Zoom call, which we always do because it's always great to meet online and you're here in person.
Yes.
So share with us what led you into the business that you're in now.
So Khospace has been kind of on the back burner for a long time now. When I first graduated with my LMHC, I was a registered intern, as most of us are, or some postdocs out there who's ever listening. And at the same time that was happening, I was trying to find an office space that I could see private clients for my agency work when they discharged from residential and they wanted to see me privately. It was an honor and I wanted to continue seeing them, but I didn't have an office. I had interviewed with a few therapists around the area for an hourly kind of rental or certain hours per week rental, and it just didn't fit. The office wasn't quite right for me. I thought it was very expensive and cost prohibitive for somebody new who had at best 3 private paying clients that were not reliable. So to have to pay such a high rent. At the same time, my father-in-law was pursuing opening kind of like a co-working space, but for beauty professionals and wellness, and wanted to have therapists, maybe to help me, I don't know, in the office with people like doing eyelash extensions and doing your hair. And I was like, no, that is not appropriate. I don't like that at all. My father-in-law is amazing, but he's from the UK. I don't think he really understood the laws and ethics that we have to abide by. So I was just not happy with that at all. And I said, no, thank you. Anyway, I was persistent and I was loyal to my belief that therapists should not work in the same or next door to an office where your hair is being done, all under the,
one
title of
sure.
one company or office space. And slowly the beauty salon suites idea fizzled out and Khospace was built up. So I would just say that a lot of loyalty, a lot of my own experience trying to find space. You're charging, sorry, I'm far away. You're charging, low rates when you're first starting out. You're not that confident to charge that high price tag. The price tag of the office space hourly is sometimes high. So I wanted to create a space that lowered the barrier to entry for new clinicians or people expanding or kind of in the transition. Maybe you had a baby or a family situation and your caseload dropped or is growing.
Or even if you moved like from a state, maybe you were really established somewhere and now you come to South Florida where we're heavily populated and you're not really sure where to start out.
Absolutely. So Khospace is my passion right now. I want us to become what WeWork is to entrepreneurs. I want Khospace to be that for mental health professionals and helping professionals. I think it's really cool that we're trying to develop a space that's safe and secure and affordable. Because, we can't just go to a WeWork and sit at a desk and have a session. And I can't really meet you at a Starbucks and have a session.
Right.
So, we're kind of bound by those laws and ethics, and we need a place where we can do that affordably.
And so the word so it's KHO, and it has like a specific meaning, right?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Ko means, in an Asian dialect, Hmong specifically, means to heal, to recover, or to put back into working order. So I thought it was really kind of a great name. Khospace, co-working, kind of embodies what we do as a profession. And we have the community, which I think creates a healing and bonding experience just among the clinicians there also. So we're fostering autonomy in your own private practice. I don't really want to know anything what you're doing. It's just the space that you're renting at a flat rate per hour. But we're also there to be a community and to help each other. So
awesome.
That's what Co is.
Share with us something that you've had to overcome, either personally or professionally, to get you where you are today.
Where I am today with Khospace or in general?
Either like in our field or with Khospace. I know you had to get over the hair stuff.
Yeah, we had to get past those salon suites because that was not going to work.
Now I could totally see though if it's like this whole like transformative from the inside out, right? Like helping people. Like I could see that working. I'm all about super creative niches.
And hairstylists are often therapists.
That is true. I say to my hairstylist that we do the same thing. You're just working while you're doing it, and I'm a bit stiller. But I would say that the biggest obstacle is fear of failure. I had one experience with a mentor of mine who I really respected, and I would tell her all of these things, and I was really excited about Khospace, and of course I shared it, and I got a little bit of doubt, which of course made my inner critic very happy to start talking to me because it came from someone whom I really respected and who was in the field. But I really had to learn to quiet that. And I said, okay, what is reality? Reality is that's one person's perspective, and everyone else who I talk to says what a great idea it is. There's a need for it. I needed it, and I'm in the field. So there has to be other people like me who need this space.
There's definitely a need for it. When I first started out as a registered intern, I was renting space in someone's private practice, and it was expensive. I was paying over $500 a month. I had no clients starting out. I had this naive belief, which we called the field of dreams mentality, that if I build it, they will come. And that's not how it works out. I learned the hard way, and when you start out and you don't have that clientele base already built up, it takes time to build your practice. And if you can keep your overhead costs lower, then you can invest more in marketing and really outlets that are going to have a greater ROI. So it's awesome that you're offering a space like that. Yeah. And you're also offering it to registered interns. And here in the state of Florida, registered interns have to have a licensed clinician on site when they're seeing clients. So how do you work that into Khospace?
So I will be having my private practice at Khospace, and I'm a licensed clinician. So this way, registered interns can see people. That was also a problem that I had, actually. Okay, I had this handful of patients that wanted to now see me. They were done with IOP and residential treatment. And even if I found an office space, too expensive, hemorrhaging money, no licensed clinician. So I'm trying to solve all of these problems. So here's a flat rate. You have one client, 1 hour of time that you pay for, not the $500. I mean, my experience, the person wanted, I think, $400 a month plus a 60-40 split, which was just really outrageous.
Kate and I have a big eek thing about that. So one of the things that we teach is medical errors and ethics, and we're just going to share this because I think it's important. Yeah. So, and again, it's, when we get into business, number one, most of us have no business sense at all, right? And so
we're emotions. We do emotions. We don't do...
Well, but we kind of do what everyone else is doing. And so what's interesting is ethically, so this is a really interesting ethic issue, right, is that when someone is renting space, they should either be renting space at a flat rate or doing the split, not both. Because what happens is it can be seen as a kickback, rebate, or bonus, right? Because that money needs to be going towards marketing or rent, right? And so when you're doing rent and a split, then why is that? So I'm hoping you guys are definitely like listening to this aspect and just empowering yourselves as you're looking for space or things like that. Is it should be that flat rate or a fee split, but not both. And we don't know better, right? And also probably the people who are saying, well, this is, what John down the street and whoever else is doing. And so they do the same thing, right? And so I'm not saying it's a fault of anybody's, but once we know, we really want to empower people to, because also too, like if you're renting and you're doing a split, like what do you walk home with, $25?
Well, that was the problem, right? And that's why I really feel that there was a need because, entrepreneurs and business people, men and women, can go to a place like WeWork or Burrow or one of, the hundreds, you name it, of co-working places. And I wasn't able to do that, like I had mentioned earlier. And not that this clinician and a few other people that I spoke to, that I didn't just jive with them and really like them, but from a business perspective, it just was not a good fit. So we need to really understand this and find places that take us in.
And next week, Kate and I are going to be doing a podcast specifically on how to start a private practice, right? And so, as I hear you talk, it's funny because when I like remember things, I see myself visually somewhere. I don't know why I feel like I was looking at my refrigerator having this conversation with someone about the gazillion mistakes that I made in private practice. And one of those things I know when I went to private practice, I got my own office, right? And I said to myself, what's the worst that could happen? I could spend $5,000 and nothing would happen. Like, okay, I'm okay with that, right?
And that was the time you couldn't breathe for 2 months, right?
No, because I had started my private practice when I couldn't breathe. That was when I left my full-time job. So I had started practice.
So you started breathing again. Okay, that's good. That's good.
But my space was awful. I don't even want to tell you guys. Maybe I'll save that for next week's podcast. Remind me to share that. But one of the things is a lot of times therapists, they have this kind of like, I got to pick a name, I got to incorporate, I got to get an office. And sometimes therapists are renting their own office. They have no clients coming in. They loan or they finance their furniture. Like, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Unless they built a brand, there's just so much.
I mean, unless you have like wealth and this is just what you want to do and you're okay with that, most often that's not it. And a lot of times in business is you're going to have to invest a lot of time and money initially without the return on less time and more money. Yeah. So I love the idea of Khospace, the renting by the hour, the co-community.
And we've done all that for you, right? Like we have beautiful furniture. It's sensitively designed. All the rooms are soundproof. We're investing that money for you so that you can come to a place, feel really good. I hate to use the term fake it till you make it, but you come and you walk into a beautiful office, you feel like a therapist and you act like a therapist.
Yeah.
Or you go into this little office that you think you can afford and there's no windows and you're like, oh, am I worth what I'm charging? Or, because we're human too and we have all of our self-doubts, that everyone else walks in with.
I was talking to a clinician the other day and another therapist, and she was telling me about how this office that she's renting space at just recently relocated to a new place. And basically they've put her in the closet. Literally. That's where she sees her clients, is in the closet. And, she's a doctorate level clinician and she's, trying to charge what she's worth for her services, but yet she's in a closet, and that's.
Is she in a closet?
She's literally in the closet. Yes.
I guess that would be okay for online counseling.
Yeah.
But
I feel her pain. And when I was doing agency work, I was also in a tiny little room with no windows. And I used to feel the same way as well. And right before I had left that job, I had a patient and it was just the most cathartic moment because she started laughing and she said something about the office having no windows and other clinicians, have windows and the patients go in there. And we had a really good therapeutic relationship that had been going on for several months at that point. But I was really trying to be professional and not laugh, but she lost it and she just said everything that I had ever thought and we just laughed. And it was really a great moment, but I feel her pain in the closet,
Yeah, so she's going to be transitioning on from that office. Yeah,
I'm sure. So one of the thoughts I have, Samantha, maybe you can kind of give people some ideas. So obviously you're here in South Florida and the majority of our listeners are not here in South Florida, even though we have a large following in Florida. Yeah. So for those people not here, what suggestions can you give to either interns or unlicensed professionals or people starting a private practice? Like what should they look for? What should they negotiate? What should they ask of the person that might be renting from? What things do they want included? Share with us a little bit about your thoughts on that.
Lots of questions thrown your way.
Lots of questions.
Let me think about this. I do rapid fire 4 and they're like really deep and I was like, Katie, let me start with one.
let me think about that. So what should you look for if you are trying to negotiate for an office, which again is not our strongest suit, right? As a therapist, we don't have an MBA. Some of us maybe. I would say try to find someone who you feel comfortable with, who you don't think is going to take advantage of you. I think I hate to say this, it sounds so negative, but I think for a lot of clinicians, if they're not using the space, they try to find like a passive income by renting out the office. And some of them are really doing it just to help the next one in line. So just find someone who you feel isn't taking advantage of you like I felt when I, had this really good thing that turned out to not be so good when you got to the number part of it. Find someone whose office space is clean and comfortable, where you feel good about yourself so that you can help, model that for your clients, where you're not going to feel like you're in a closet. And like Katie said, find a place where there's either a 60-40 split or a flat rate rent because you're starting out and you have so many other things. We graduate and we think we're the greatest therapist that ever lived, and we're not. We have a lot of growing and a lot of doing, and we have that whole business side that we feel lost. So it's amazing, that we have something and people like you guys that are really putting it out there step by step what we need to do.
And even with splits, I would say 60-40 is too much.
Okay,
I was going to say the fee splitting, it's all negotiable. And maybe totally as you get more experience and as your clientele increases, your caseload increases, then the fee split is negotiable. Because if it's just 60-40 always forever,
that's steep.
It's very,
But also you want to know what's included in that. And I know a lot of times, I think, like Kate said, that Field of Dreams mentality, they're like, oh, I went to, Susie Smith and she said I could rent space and she's going to give me clients. That's always like a little red flag for me. I'm like, how are they going to give you clients? How are they marketing? Do they already have a surplus? Like, are they your ideal clients? So really talking about those things and really thinking about those things. Of course, it sounds great when someone says, oh, I'm going to give you 10 clients a week. Like, well, have you done that for others? Right. Mm-hmm. And being really clear on, ask you being the interviewer.
Right.
And while you're getting interviewed, I guess, for the space and talking about those things. I know we did a great podcast with Michael Feuerman, who used to be a real estate attorney and now he's real estate mortgage. What was his title?
Well, he's a real estate agent now who does commercial real estate. He's actually, my real estate attorney agent.
I knew that, actually.
He used to be a real estate attorney. Yeah, I was just emailing with him yesterday. He's going to be helping us find new space, which I'm super excited about. Yeah.
But I was actually thinking about that in the elevator as I was coming up
very slowly up my elevator.
While the elevator was bouncing, and I'm looking at the expiration, and I'm like, how can they even approve this elevator?
It's very slow and steady. As long as it gets to the destination, that's what matters most. I've been in this location here for like 7 years, and then about 2 years ago, this is just a little side story, but I'll make it quick. We had new owners that came in and bought the building, and I don't have a clause in my lease, helping me exit because the new owners of the building are absolutely horrific. And it's created so many other additional problems for us. And I cannot wait till my lease ends. And I am moving the heck out of here with a quickness.
And we're getting a studio, we're going to have a media room
for our recording.
Not to cut you off, but I think that's another really important thing. Like, you get so excited to have this space and Katie's like, oh, you can have this office for 4 hours a week. But then what are the terms of that agreement? Because it's not really written down. You're very excited as a young clinician to have space. So make sure protect yourself, ask questions, get everything in writing. I know exactly what's included, that I can use this space for how long. What if I have it for 4 hours a week and then all of a sudden I have 6 clients? Then what do I do with those 2 hours? And when can I use it? Do I have internet? Are you going to charge me for air conditioning or heating wherever you are? And
right.
Do
the doors close at a certain time, but I work later. Can I come in earlier? How do the clients get in? Mm-hmm. There's so much stuff that people really need to think about that space. But I'm going to put Michael Feuerman's podcast on our show notes page. And so he talked about, I think, 10 different things on how to negotiate your lease. I think that's what the podcast was.
Yep.
So I'll put that on our show notes if you guys want to listen to that as well. Yeah. So why don't you share with us, what does Khospace all entail?
So Khospace is a place for you to have an affordable, on-demand, comfortable private practice. We have a standalone building in a beautiful area. There's floor-to-ceiling windows in all of the offices that, of course, are tinted from the outside for privacy, but you can see out. It's on a little lake with some fountains and some swans. It's very therapeutic.
I think I'm getting relaxed as you talk about it.
Too?
It is. Oh, that's awesome. I know. I couldn't do that.
I would love to, but I'm booked.
We'll invite you another. Yeah. We'll invite you another time.
Okay.
You'll come. Anyway, there's 4 offices that are just beautifully decorated. We really took the time and consideration to do that. Each office is a little bit different, but I think that they're set up to really encourage that therapeutic flow. Hopefully not too distracting looking outside. And we have a coffee bar that is free to you and to your clients. Everything is ADA accessible. It's self-locking with smart locks, so you come in with your phone, you exit. It's all on your schedule, 24/7.
Super high tech.
We're very high tech. Like I said, we're the WeWork for the mental health community. I really hope, and it's affordable. So it's a flat rate. So whether you charge $60 an hour or $200 an hour, our fee is the same. We're not, we're just trying to give you a space that you feel comfortable, that you feel proud to bring in your patient. Beautiful, comfortable, flexible, on-demand spaces. We have, I believe we have a 12-hour cancellation policy even. So standard is 24 hours cancellation with your clients. We give you 12 hours. We realize things happen. I mean, we're really here to support you build up your practice and to feel good and to be able to kind of make a living. I mean, I think a lot of us go to school for so long and we're doing a very honorable profession. And then, it's really hard when we're starting out or even when we've been practicing for a long time and have trouble paying our bills. So
that's to me, that's not okay. You deserve, so just, we'll slow this down. Ready? You deserve to be paid well.
Right.
You work hard. You make a difference in people's lives. Our profession, a lot of professions do great, amazing things, but we really work to help people make a difference in their lives. So you deserve to be paid well, and you definitely should not be in debt trying to figure out how to pay your bills.
Exactly.
So I love that you created this opportunity for clinicians here in the South Florida area. And obviously we talked about some tips of things to look at for other clinicians in other areas. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you want to make sure our listeners take away from your message here today about Khospace?
That's a good question. Just believe in yourself. Be passionate about your ideas. Be loyal. Don't let other people doubt you. If you get frustrated, don't give up. Don't think that because you can't find the right office for you at the time that you're just stuck in that very unfortunately low paying start out salary and agency work, because you're not stuck. There's always an option. There's always availability. You have to look for it. You have to want it. And hopefully Khospace will be coming to a city near you soon.
Cool. So, what is your long-term plan?
Our long-term plan is to really expand. We actually, very excitingly, have been talking to people around the country, someone who's very involved in franchising very large franchises. I won't say at the moment, but you would know them if I said them, and someone out in California. So we are hoping to expand across the country.
That's awesome.
Email me if you're interested in managing a location, but we're going to start here in Florida, and we definitely in the next 3 to 5 years want to expand beyond Florida. So
that's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Really cool.
And so I'm assuming that it's cool if someone wants to email you or call you and stop by to check out the space.
Absolutely.
And I know that you have a giveaway, so you're offering 1 free hour for Khospace if you decide to sign up.
Yep.
By registering online. So it's Khospace, KHOSpace.com. Right. So Samantha, thanks so much for not only being with us on our podcast today, but actually being in office.
Yes. And I'm really sorry to the audience if I was fumbling over my words, as they said.
Don't be sorry.
I am jet lagged.
They know you're human.
So tired. But this is all very exciting, and thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So we hope you guys join us next week, where Kate and I are going to be doing the podcast. We are the guests and experts
for next week
and interviewers.
So the private practice startup will be talking all about startups. Right?
We're going to be talking about how to start a private practice, and we are not going to be talking about how to choose your name first. So if you're in a place where you're thinking I got to choose my name and incorporate, we are not talking about that. We will mention that, and we'll discuss where that falls in the lineup, but that is definitely not the first thing. So you'll definitely want to join us. We're going to be offering a ton, not only of tips, but resources and tools. So that show notes page is going to be littered has like a bad value-packed resources, links all over the place.
Littered is like very cluttered.
I know, right? That was the only word. It's funny because when
litter. There's no good connotation with litter.
When you podcast and you let out a word, you can't take it back or change. It's not like the delete button.
So we run with it. We joke about it. Yeah, it's all good.
So join us next week for that in Startup Nation. We had a blast today, as we do always. We are really looking forward to 1:00 where Ernesto comes in. That's going to be a webinar, so not another podcast.
Yay! Startup Fairy is coming.
So awesome. We will actually be creating a membership site, and that webinar will be on our membership site in the future.
Yes. That is very true.
Ooh, I put that out there in the universe and told people now. Oh God, that means we got to do it. So check out our show notes page for all the tips, resources, and everything we talked about today. Like Kate said in our last podcast, subscribe, rate, review, send us an email, post on Facebook how this impacted you, because that's what keeps us going. So we'll catch you next week for that podcast on starting up a private practice.
See you then.
Bye, Startup Nation. Thanks for letting us inspire you from startup to mastery.
Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.